for each game, for each team, sorry, but I'm thrilled with the performance, with the attitude that we showed, with the personality and character that we played, especially in the second half.
We're looking at Manchester City and we're just thinking, wow, what a team. You're above them, so wow.
Yeah, but it's just the start. Obviously, we are really happy where we are, but we know the competition, we know the history, what Liverpool has done and will continue to do in the next few games for sure. And we haven't shown that yet, and that's what we are trying to do.
The situation around the penalty, of course, we should have cleared it already. I don't know how many times with one proper shot over the roof of the stand or whatever. That didn't happen, and now I saw it, and it's. I think you can imagine that I don't think that this is a clear penalty. This is a very soft one. But in the end, I think the game is a draw. And then that's for today fine, but now we have nothing, and that's obviously much worse.
I think we only have to think about us, not about the other teams, and of course we are confident, and I think we need to keep going and go game by game, trying to win all of them.
Everything Trent does at the moment and everything he doesn't do is analysed endlessly. I wanted to ask, I mean, I was assuming that it was the ankle problem that why he came off.
Yeah, he's injured, unfortunately, like Luis Diaz as well. Doesn't look good for both. So that's the icing on the cake for us today.
I have to say, when Bukayo Saka came up to take that penalty, I have a screen so I can see the close-up. He looked about 12 years old, but my goodness me, what a penalty.
It's great. Obviously, we all know what happened over a year ago and how he took that situation, and everybody around him was really helpful and supportive. He didn't doubt about what he wants to be on that pitch. He wants to be a leader. He wants to be a game winner. And in order to do that, you have to step in important moments. Today he's done it, and he's given the 3 points to the club.
There's probably more discussion about Liverpool's defending than any other subject at the moment in football, and we will do that in a little while. But that was a really good game.
Well, sometimes analysis can be made simple for you by wonderful footballers playing with confidence. Yes, there are always aspects of it that you want to look at in terms of tactics or mistakes. But today, Arsenal, the positivity was there for all to see. The two young lads playing left and right for them at the moment would be giving any defences in Europe or world football a problem. Great players can force teams into mistakes. They're relentless. They're so direct and so full of confidence at the moment. I mean, obviously to concede in the first minute of the game is a terrible start for Liverpool, but it's a brilliant goal when those two are involved. The rest of the first half was pretty even, actually, and Liverpool got back into the game, did really well. But look at this. Arsenal, a little bit against the run of play, have these two flying at the Liverpool back players. They're not just quick and skillful. They're now getting end product to their game. Spotting the runs, making the right passes, good decision-making. I love everything about Arsenal at the moment. They're well-balanced. They've got a great setup behind these lads that give them the freedom to go and cause problems. And I know you, Dion, were just as impressed as me.
They did it all game, Dan, as well. And what I like about it as well, if there's a cross coming from the left-hand side, then you've got Saka on the right, making sure that ball doesn't go through, and the support they got as well. Listen, I never thought I'd say this, but, you know, Xhaka in there as well just allows them to go forward. Odegaard playing in that 10 allows them the freedom to do what they're good at, which is to be direct, to get the ball in the box, to be into goal-scoring positions. Look at Martinelli there. Sometimes, Dan, and you know this better than most, Dan, you don't have to move. Get yourself in a good position, and you are there in case. And that happened a lot in the game. And this is the penalty. I didn't think it was in normal time. And then, you know, you can just see that, you know, Thiago, he thinks he's there, but he actually kicks through the leg. I think it's a soft pen. I've got to say, I think it's a very soft pen, but it's a pen. And the referee gets it right.
You sort of sensed in the interview at the end there, Mikel Arteta maybe just trying to play things down a little bit, talking about Liverpool's consistency over the years and suggesting Arsenal aren't quite at that stage yet. Given where they are in the table, are they City's closest challengers for you at the moment?
It looks like at the moment. I think they're still a long way off City. I don't see them seriously challenging.
You don't?
No, and the main reason is simply because they can't keep their best 11 fit all season. City don't have to because they've got that much quality. I think 2 or 3 of those players come out the Arsenal side and they don't have the strength. They've got good players, but they haven't got the same level of player to go in. So I think when they have a few problems, they'll have the odd bad run, whereas a City, I just don't see.
I think right now they have to be in the picture, though, Arsenal. Right now, they have to be in the picture, Arsenal do. It's hard to overlook.
They're fighting for second.
It's hard to overlook them right now, Dan, because they are the best.
I know what you mean, but it's not hard to overlook them based on what City are doing and the reasons I just gave. I just can't. City have got that much strength and depth.
I completely
I just
agree,
don't see how they can be stopped.
No, City's got the best squad of quality, without a doubt. But at the moment, Arsenal looking very good.
Just a final thing on them and an indication of what they're building. They've scored 54 goals via players aged 21 and under in the Premier League under Mikel Arteta, which is 22 more than any other side. So for the whether it's this season or not, the future bodes incredibly well.
I think that's one of the strengths. You know, having this lovely blend of some experienced players with these young lads coming in. Arteta, he has a way of playing. They all know their jobs. They all know what they're doing. But more importantly, they play with a freedom. And with young players, if you've got a manager who gives you that freedom to express yourself, well, you've got a hell of a chance.
And I think Arsenal and Mikel Arteta will like people saying that they're not quite, just go under the radar slightly. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's be second favourites.
Although you just said they can win the
No,
title.
I did. But you're saying that, I think City will win. And you're right, they have got the best squad City. However, Mikel Arteta will like not being favoured.
Well, then you've covered all bases, because Arsenal fans will love you for your positivity. They'll hate you, obviously, but Arsenal's players and manager will like you for your realism. There you go.
It's just the harsh facts.
Well, if anybody deals in harsh facts, it's you. Right, Liverpool's defending.
Yeah, listen, I don't know, just for the goal, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this shouldn't be a problem, because here you can see we have now got a 3-on-3. There's not a massive problem here. All you have to do is stay in that 3. You've got a man each, do what you've got to do. I know what Trent Alexander-Arnold's trying to do. He's trying to help his skipper out because Martinelli's quicker. So he's gone out of his space. You've got to trust your skipper. Stay in the middle, get Tsimikas to stay on the left. And if they stay in those positions in a 3, this goal will not happen. Because Trent will be in the middle, Tsimikas will be off, not a problem.
Just one worrying other sign. So we're going to see the same bit of action again. And if you just watch in your picture here, Odegaard sprint forward. Thiago sees him. This is your central midfielder, only playing with 2. His reaction to try and get back in is a little bit worrying for me. We know he's a wonderful technician, but really he should be busting a gut to try and get back in, and you shouldn't have your striker, Nunez, overtaking you to try and get in the box to clear the cross. That's a little bit of a concern, especially when you play 2 in the middle.
And that's it. Your recovery run should always be a sprint. You get back first, and then you wait for attackers to come onto you.
Well, it's highlighted, Dion, because the fact that Nunez, who's a striker, is sprinted past his midfield player.
That's what strikers do, Dan. Strikers work hard. Strikers work hard, Dan. That's what we do.
And he was good today, by the way. Yes. It's the positive for Liverpool. Nunez was very, very good today.
One more on this. Klopp said afterwards, I think the goals we conceded have nothing to do with the system. Do I have deeper concerns? Yes, of course. I'm not happy. Look, that's what they've done in the last 12 games. That's what they did in the 12 games before that. That is a stark difference.
Well, we're talking a few months ago, Liverpool were in every competition looking at making history and winning 4 competitions. So the squad has not got worse in terms of the players, but the mentality's changed a little bit. I think it's hard to change momentum. I said before that complacency set in a little bit, I think, at the beginning of the season for certain members of the team. And I think then trying to flick a switch to get it back on is one of the hardest things in football.
It's individual lapses in concentration. That's what it is. That's what he means.
Just a quick one on the handball. Liverpool didn't get this. Now, PGMOL say for handball, it's all about proximity and speed. You would both agree that if that had been given, that would have been harsh.
Yes, 100%.
Yep,
100%.
Because of the proximity and speed. This was the one that was given yesterday, though, and that was given as a penalty.
That's what's making fans angry. And listening to some Liverpool supporters on my social, how can that be given and then Liverpool's not be given? And that's a fair argument. Yeah. We're all after consistency. How can they both be different decisions?
2 poor decision that against
Dan Burn.
That we've currently got. So I didn't think it was a penalty, but no complaints in terms of where the 3 points went.
Your view on the penalty?
I wasn't a fan, I'll be honest. I thought they'd get there simultaneously.
I just think we have VAR to get to clear those things up and get them 100% right. I just don't think there's enough contact in it. The game was too good to be decided by something so minimal, in my opinion. You can see why they did it. I would have loved to see Mikel Arteta go to the monitor and look at it again himself and just have a look. VAR said he didn't have to do that, but I think Michael, myself, Ian Wright, we all looked at it and the first instinct was soft.
Yeah, and there we see it again. You know, the ball comes in and it's possibly shouldn't get that far, actually, coming in low like that into the middle of the goal mouth. But Michael Oliver, let's get it right, he's been one of the top referees in the world.
He's a great ref, isn't he?
He's amazing, absolutely amazing. And do you know what, if he didn't give it, I know Arsenal fans will be screaming at the TV saying that's a penalty, he never touched the ball, he touched the man and he's gone down. I hear it, I see it, but on balance, I just think there's not enough of a touch there. He actually...
He's trying to sell it, Mo, isn't he?
Jesus stands up after he touches it. He's still standing and then thinks, oh, I can go down here. He spins and screams, not for the first time in the game. And the referee buys it, and fair play to him. But I think it's quite a soft one, as Owen says.
And Thiago, he's a proper football player. You know, he knows. He's saying to the, come on. I mean, that is so soft. Jordan Henderson, he was irate, and he never gets like that. And I think even he realised their season's slipping away. A moment like that could change their season one direction or the other. And I just think they had a feel that it was soft. I think we all had a feel it was soft. I know if you're Arsenal, you need that moment, you know, to put them, to continue their great season. But I don't know, watching it live, you just saw the Premier League, we all talk about the physicality of the league. That wasn't, I mean, that was nothing, virtually.
It certainly is great. It's the third best start to a Premier League season for Arsenal. 24 points from 9 games, 8 wins, just that defeat at Manchester United. They're a point ahead of the champions in 4 of the last 5 seasons, City, and 4 clear of Spurs. And as we've mentioned, and we'll get to Liverpool in a moment, 14 ahead of Jurgen Klopp's side. Mikel Arteta mentioning the atmosphere there, both today and against Tottenham. Does that feel for the first time to you more like the old recognisable Arsenal? The whole club I'm talking about, the feeling around it.
No, he's done a remarkable job to turn that football club around. You think about all the negativity when Arsene Wenger finished, you know, the fans and the frustration that they had and the whole Xhaka experience, you know, with the captaincy and all that. He's turned that all around. It's almost pure positivity around Arsenal. So I'm amazed that he's done that great a job. The recruitment, it's been fantastic as well. They play good football. And actually it felt like for the first moment they believed. You know, we think about the way they played against Liverpool over the last seasons. They've got smashed to bits, you know, especially going to Anfield. Looks like now they believe that they can go into these games, they can go toe-to-toe. Even Klopp said, you know, you have most respect for them. So the only game was the United one, a little blip there, but they actually played pretty well. They were just a little bit open on the counter-attack, which United exploited. But Arsenal are the real deal. You can see that. They're one of the best balanced sides in the whole league. And the amazing thing is, Mo, they're still really, really young.
They've got a really young team. Some really good players in there. The goalkeeper's been a sensation. Saliba's been out of this world, although I thought it was his fault for the second goal for Liverpool today. Xhaka's a different man, Partey's unbelievable. Martinelli, wow, what a player. Jesus, where's he? You know, we all knew he was a very good player, but he looks top class. I mean, right through the team, there's some top class, so they're here to stay. And it's just great to see Arsenal back, I think, because you know, I grew up with them. I played against the Invincibles. They were just an incredible team, and I think they've suffered enough, you know. It's been probably a decade of suffering at least for Arsenal. So I think their fans are rightly getting very excited about what the future holds, and Owen's right. It's not just the here and now. That team looks as if it's going to improve in the future.
So what's realistically possible? Can they stay on the coattails of Manchester City?
Well, I don't think Mikel would say they could match Man City, but they're there right now. And while you're there, you know, you got to chip away. We saw Leicester all those years ago. Nobody believed that they can go and win the league. I think even only they thought they probably could when they got to March, you know, and they got a huge result. And all of a sudden you think, right, while we're here, let's go and win it. So I think for Arsenal, they're right there. You know, they can give everybody a great game. I think even Guardiola said last week, you know, Arsenal played better than City have over the course of the season so far. So credit to Mikel and his players. They're doing amazing. The atmosphere is super positive. I don't think they're ready to push City yet. But if they can get the recruitment right, which they have in the last couple of windows, and add some more pieces, I think they're not going to go away. I just think they have one of the best balanced sides, and I think Ødegaard is fantastic. I love the choice of him as a young captain as well. And they're just loads of players you want to go watch play football. I just think they're a really good watch.
And that togetherness, that spirit, that group seemed to have got, which obviously Mikel Arteta has placed a great deal of importance on. We saw that with the way Aubameyang left the club.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that extends, Steve, to the staff, to the fans. I just feel as if Arsenal fans have not really liked their team for a fair few years. You often see, a lot of headlines, a lot of, fans, Arsenal TV and things like that. It just feels quite toxic. It has done for quite a while. And now, just watching, just listening to fans, just hearing the atmosphere on the television, seeing the togetherness, seeing the fans celebrating, it just feels like there's a lot of belief, a lot of unity now in the whole club, not just the team. But you're right, if you can get that squad of 20, 25 players that are really unified and all pulling in the same direction, then you're onto something, and then everything comes with it. Then the fans do start believing, they do start coming with you as opposed to pulling against you, and when you get a club that's motoring like this, then all of a sudden that momentum, who knows where it can finish. And I go back to it, young players, young manager, loads of enthusiasm, a club that's hungry, that hasn't won anything for a fair while. Signs are good.
Yeah, and that young group, the young manager, how important is that belief? What do the last two results, beating Spurs and Liverpool in the way they have, do to that belief going forward?
Well, it's huge, Steve, because actually last season they were fantastic. Just the end of the season.
They didn't have that belief.
No, they didn't. That huge game against Spurs, where they just kind of, it was in their hands. They probably should be in the Champions League right now, but they just fell away. And I think that showed they lacked a little bit of belief. And then all of a sudden Mikel brings in Zinchenko, brings in Gabriel Jesus, and all of a sudden now, guys that have been there and done it, and they say to the lads, look, you're good enough, but you've got to believe in those crucial moments. They went to Old Trafford, played well, but didn't look like they 100% believed. Today was a huge game for them, because if they would have got beat by Liverpool, everybody would have said, yeah, Arsenal, they're good, but it's the same old Arsenal. Now they can say, we beat one of the best teams in the league. And they're for real. And I think for all those young guys in that dressing room, you're looking at Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah and, iconic players really in this league, and they've gone and beat them. So I think those players will be super confident. Mikel can say, look, his message works, and he can reinforce it to the players. He said, look, just buy in and we'll be there. And I just think this Arsenal team, well balanced, well coached, Saka, Martinelli, Ødegaard, Gabriel Jesus, there's so much to like about this group. And the one thing I would say is, Mo, we've seen them for the last decade where Mo said it's been tough. They had so many weaknesses, Steve. I don't look at Arsenal and think there's any weaknesses there anymore.
So much positivity around Arsenal. The other side of the story, not just today, but all season, Liverpool. They've dropped 14 points already. They've won only 2 games. Where are your former club at 9 games in?
Well, the league table would suggest miles away at the moment, but, the performance wasn't so bad today. They've come up against a really good team. There's no question they're not on it at the moment, and it's very difficult, and it's certainly not one reason. If you ask 10 Liverpool fans, they'll all give you a different reason why it's not going well. Is it because Sadio Mane left? Is it because Jordan Henderson can't play 90 minutes? Or is it because Trent's not defending? Or whatever it might be, Virgil van Dijk's not in good form? Or is it confidence? Was it injuries at the start of the season? Not start the season right? Lack of confidence? Is it a lack of confidence belief? How can it be that? There's just so many different things, but what we do know in football is that once one thing can go wrong, it can be a domino effect, and it's very hard to stop the slide. And it could be a mixture of all kinds of things. I mean, they did lose a great player in Sadio Mane, then they replace him, and then he gets suspended for 3 games in Nunez. So lots of things have gone wrong. They're not a million miles away. I watched them in the Champions League in midweek. They played particularly well in the first half. They give Arsenal a good game today, but it's not what you expect, is it? I'm not sticking up for them in that way. You'd normally expect them to go to Arsenal over the last few years and beat them well, because they were that good. There's certainly things that aren't perfect at the moment, but I do see Jurgen Klopp. I don't think that this is a something that's all falling down before our eyes. I mean, bear in mind a couple of seasons ago, in the season that was disrupted by COVID, I mean, they were even worse than this. They couldn't win at home for half a dozen games or something, and they bounced back. You know, they bounced back with unbelievable, you know, quality. So yes, they're going through a rough patch at the moment, but they're not gone. They're not, you know, there are little cracks appearing, don't get me wrong, and there will be surgery needed to that squad. It's one of the oldest teams in the Premier League. That's a bit of a concern. The midfield isn't great. It's ageing, and I think more quality needs to be added to that. But, you know, Jurgen Klopp will get it right. He's just done an incredible, you know, job, and I don't think people should lose faith so quickly.
And that midfield area, where of course you used to play, you noticed on a couple of the Arsenal goals today that they're fine margins, but they're important margins. Yeah, I mean, I think Jurgen Klopp, I think the one thing he's got to fix very soon is conceding early goals. And when you play in a position like in central midfield where Jordan Henderson, if you're in there, maybe can you cut out that ball? I know it's tiny, but you know, they're just such fine margins, I think. And again, you know, there's just a couple little moments there where you think, you know, if you're in that position, you have a huge responsibility. You know, can you try and cut out that ball that's coming across? I know Trent gets all the criticism, but everybody is kind of responsible for that. I think he wanted to play a little bit differently because of, you know, he played another attacker, which is fine. But, you know, if you get in a position like this, I know it's tough against one of the best players in the league in Martinelli, but you can't let him chop inside. You just can't. You can't let him come back on his right foot. Jordan is too good, too experienced to allow that to happen. If he wants to go down the left, good luck to you. And take a shot down there. But, you know, keep him on his left. Keep him on his left. You got help there. You can't come in on his right, Mo. And they're just little things. But if you think about all the goals they're conceding, the soft goals, and you're 1 down and you're 2 down, they're all adding up, and they're doing it pretty much every match day.
Yeah, and against lesser teams, you always get away with it. I mean, Liverpool played this new little tweaked formation in midweek, but they're playing against Rangers, with all due respect. You know, they were always going to win that game. They've always got too much quality. He's gone with that same formation, a very attacking formation with 4 strikers, basically, and then 2 sitting. Well, for that first goal, Thiago breaks rank. He goes and commits himself, and all of a sudden Jordan Henderson's left on his own, and it's like, do I go? Do I try to cut this out? It's a slightly different formation. It's a brave one, and to come to a team like Arsenal in their form, it was a very, very brave decision, let's say, to play all those attacking players. Fabinho left on the bench again, which I never thought would be the case. You know, I see him as one of the best sitting midfielders in the world, but he has had a sticky start to the season. But for the big games, I thought he'd bring him back in. But he decided against it. He played with an attacking lineup. And as Owen said, those little details, you know, against the teams like Arsenal, you get away with it in certain games, but against the big teams, you need your big players and the ones that are used to playing in those big games.
You talked about the starts and they keep conceding it. I mean, when you look at the first half record for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, I mean, it's incredible. We've done a table. They're bottom.
Yeah.
They've got 4 points in just the first 45 minutes. Is that a mentality thing? Is it a concentration thing?
That's just concentration. Sir Alex used to go on about that. You know, in big games, in the dressing room, the thing he'd always say, the players are great, the manager's great, just concentrate. If you concentrate, you cut out errors. They're making so many mistakes for such a great team. Mo's right, Klopp's done one of the greatest managers in the game. And even for him, he'll be looking to try and find little solutions to fix it. But the fact of the matter is, if you start games that poorly, I don't care how good you are, even if you're one of the best teams in the world, you're going to struggle and you're going to chase games, and then your confidence goes. And their confidence isn't there anymore, by the way, and it was a few months ago. Their confidence is down. You know, they're taking punches and they're getting knocked out at times. I think they've got to find a way to just hang in there, keep the games tight. Mo Salah and Diaz and all these guys, they're going to score goals. They got to keep it tight at the back. If they do that, then I think they'll be back to one of the best in the league.
Yeah, it's worrying. It's been a trend for some time, hasn't it? I mean,
staggering that, though.
It is. It's
Liverpool.
Unbelievable. 4 points in the first half, yeah. And it is. It's a staggering stat. We have mentioned it before, but to see it in cold light of day like that in numbers, it's quite a staggering stat. And as Owen said, it can only be concentration, because you can't be a good second half team and a bad first half. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. It's not fitness. It's nothing bar concentration. So. they'll have to put that right as well. I mean, it was a forte of Liverpool, starting fast, almost putting teams under the cosh right from the start, beating them in the first half, being able to rest some of your good players in the second half. But at the moment, it's just not happening.
No. And this week, they go to Ibrox in the Champions League, and then it's Manchester City next in the Premier League at Anfield. It's the hardest fixture. Is it some way it's the best fixture for them?
It's the best fixture, and especially with that Anfield crowd. And the thing is, Steve, they need to turn around their season. Mo mentioned, was it last season where they...
Season before,
where they went on that terrible run at home, and all of a sudden they found a way to get into the Champions League. They need something to kickstart their season. 14 points behind Arsenal. That's crazy. The league title's over for them, so they need to find a way to kickstart their season. If you beat Man City at Anfield, that place will be bouncing, as Mel knows, and then they can go on a run, and we know they can go on and win 10, 12 games in a row.
And just to add to the list as well, Jurgen Klopp has confirmed both Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diaz will have scans this week after both left the field with injuries. It just seems to be mounting up at the moment, wherever you look.
It does. It's amazing what wins do. If you win a game, 1 or 2 injuries, it just feels fine. That we showed the fixtures coming up there. Normally they look fine, but when you're struggling, then even West Ham and these teams, they all look, oh, can we beat them? Can we beat them? And that's just what confidence does to you. Liverpool did start the season with a lot of injuries. They've managed to get a fair few of them back, but now they've picked up a couple of big ones. If Trent's not available, then that's their first choice right back and their first choice left back. Positions that they've been so strong in over the years. Diaz has been a shining light this season. Him and Alisson probably been the better players. So yeah, it's not looking ideal. I was quite impressed with Nunez today. I thought he looked good and sharp, and obviously got his goal. Hopefully that'll get him on this run that we think he's capable of. But no, cracks are appearing. But I think, as I say, Jurgen Klopp is certainly the man to repair them.
I think they just got to get the players back and they'll be fine. Konate came off the bench today. I think him and Van Dijk, that's probably their pairing. Get the fullbacks back, 2 of the best. If Liverpool have everybody fit and healthy, they're with Man City the best team in the league. We know that.